Released in 2014, War Robots was originally a third-person shooter with real-time PvP battles in mobile mode, and after all these years, the game still maintains its charm and proves its strength compared to the competition. The developers have expanded the scale, making War Robots more than just a game, and one of them is the War Robots story series. Since this is one of the debut projects with a total length of fewer just than 60 minutes, there is no denying that the success of 6 parts is fake. So the proof lies in the total views of the first 5 episodes on YouTube. As of February 8th, is approximately 4.5 million views. Wow! Congratulations to the series and the Pisonic, which has brought this series in particular at the beginning of the Universe General expansion up to glory. So, with the fact that the 6th episode has just been released not so long ago, you know that? So, what's appealing about this series? Let's recap all 6 parts with MyHoGamer to see what's inside. And before entering the video, so this will be a spoiling warning for those who haven't watched the full series because this video cannot replace the traditional watching experience. Or if you want to continue, let's get started right now. At the beginning of episode 1, Redemption, we witness a scene where it's placed on the map of the Death City, also known as the City of Death, with red and blue smoke to decorate and cheer. The robots act as the spectators, not letting everyone wait long. 2 fighters, Fury and Cossack, were immediately present to prepare for the fight. The 2 robots begin to enter the marked circle to engage in combat. Fury, due to his tall and muscular physique, overwhelmed Cossack and won. Sad and depressed before the loss, Cossack determined to spend more time practicing and preparing for the next round. Jogging, high jumping, keep jogging, push-ups, container lifts, generally all endurance exercises. And the next round of the competition has arrived. Due to previous hard work, Cossack is now much bigger. He just needs to kick Fury lightly and Fury flies off the fighting range. Episode 2, titled How Ares Tried to Ruin Christmas, opens the story on Christmas when everyone is excited together to prepare to open up a party of robots, and for some reason, Ares has the exact opposite attitude and feelings. He chases the robots those are directly involved in the Christmas preparations. When everything is almost done, Ares stands watching from afar and ready to turn on all his weapons in preparation for the sabotage. He starts firing, but instead of shooting at the robots like the last time, this time he shoots directly at the place where the pine tree and the presents were. Ares runs to a nearby place, staring at the items scattered on the ground. Turns out, in the past, he used to love Christmas. He spent Christmas with his family and relatives near and far. But unfortunately, that was the last time he saw everyone alive and standing beside him. That's the reason why Ares doesn't like Christmas. But he freezes himself for a while and understands the problem. He finally returns to normal. He even has pushed the giant gift and has fun, celebrates Christmas with other robots. If the first 2 episodes are somewhat simple and slow-paced stories, then in the third one, horror, we will see more drama, sensation and connection between the parts. The main character in this part is a group of very young friends having fun together in the Springfield. All of a sudden, a red balloon appeared that attracted Destroyer's attention. and he decided to chase it. The others noticed and ran over to Destroyer's place. Suddenly, Destroyer was dragged through the gate and yep, it was Arachnic Invader, a kidnapper and cannibal of smaller robots. Due to panic because, their friend was captured, it's so sad, this group had to run away from that place. But the kidnapper also was powerful due to the good physical strength and 4 legs. So Tom chases Jerry is not surprising at all. Hellburner accidentally stepped on an obstacle in the road and fell. Since the killer was already approaching, Hellburner signaled his friends to keep running and not to worry about himself. Wow, he's so brave. But unexpectedly, the boy activated his self-destruct ability and dragged Invader to death. But this guy is so strong that only one explosion does not hurt him at all. The kidnapper also continues to pursue the rest. This guy also equips specialized weapons that can immobilize the opponent after just 2 shots, like how Corona and Halo were still very strong at the golden time of the game. This time, the victim was Kozak, but Mender was able to turn on the accelerator and push Invader into the river and save his friend. But unfortunately, this guy outlived Lichus. He slowly crawled out of the water and continued his work. Due to the loss of so many comrades, the remaining 3 robots decided to run away and began to counterattack. They went to the weapon storage, which is the memento of the Ares family left behind after their death in the episode 2, and began to fight. Due to the subjectivity from the previous times, this cruel guy of course fell into the net of the little friends. In the end, they ambushed at the other end and opened fire on the green eyes in his face that was said to be horribly disdainful at having eaten the previous robots. And finally, Kozak carried the saw on his back and Part 4. The Cossack who cried wolf leads us to Furlough's Cossack, a character who also partly participates in the destroyed ship of 3 shepherds, Kit, Arthur, and Alming. The clever boy immediately thought that the ship had been chased and eaten by the stalker wolves to be handled by the other 3 shepherds. But when they arrived, it turned out that this was a trick of the Cossack when the ship was still enthusiastic about sunbathing. Seeing this trick as fun, he applied it a second time, and as expected, he fooled the 3 out of them. Angry at being tricked twice by a kid, they angrily beat and kicked the Cossack away. The 3rd time, this time, the ferocious wolves really came, but because he couldn't convince them to trust him, he was helpless and pitiful to protect the ship with his own strength. But from afar, Arthur and everyone else in the nick of time saw and quickly rescued the lost Try and the ship. Following the success of its predecessor in the series, Afterlife shows us the opening scene with a match between Lich and his opponent. Due to the intense heat from 4 machine guns fired directly at the small body, Lich was killed instantly. His spirit escapes from the body, and the god of death, Loki, has an eccentric preference for viper candies instead of the traditional axe that pops up and leads him to the afterlife. The air here was extremely cold, gloomy, and all the other departed souls gathered and lined up to go up. Turns out, this is the place of the transition between reality and heaven or hell. Lich recalled his life before, he fought bravely, ready to go out and save his teammates, which is also true at that time. Lich in the game was very strong. And of course, he was accepted by the god of death and the soldiers that go to heaven and live happily. When it's Baxter's turn, when he's alive, he just bullies with the weaker robots, escape the combat right when he's about to fight, steals killing streak from others, and uses his teammates as a shield for himself. So he is sucked into the hell by the red light. Mander constantly heals his teammates, and the rescue phase goes deeply into the human heart. That he went to heaven. Here he meets his old friend Hellburner, who died to confront the kidnapper directly from the Part 3. And finally, Ares, although at first bullied and banned other robots for his own purposes, so he almost went to hell, but later he knew how to correct his mistakes, so he automatically went to heaven. Here he missed his parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, brothers and sisters. In the end, everyone returned to live together in the clouds. The latest installment in the series, which came out a year and a half after episode 5 titled Space Trip, has really expanded the scale of the story, as we now see them adventuring in space. Yep, the real space. Kozak is a commander-in-chief. Griffin, Demeter, and Orochi are engineers, and Retro Revenant are sentinels. Due to a close relationship or gratitude towards something, they repaired, maintained, or upgraded the Skydriver Nightingale. But unfortunately, the planet of 156 million Nightingalian populations is currently under attack by the Hunters' corrupted Fafnir. Seeing that, the group immediately turned the ship around and launched into the Sand Planet to rescue this species. The Retro Revenant encountered another Nightingale but was mistaken for the Hunters and took several bullets in the face. But they have been confirmed by the Skydriver Nightingale that the Revenant and the rest of the group are friends and are always here to help. The Hunters arrived and the two sides began to fight. Thanks to the modern and advanced weapons, the group of the friends from the spaceship managed to defeat a few of them, but the villains outnumbered and our Nightingale was killed one by the Fafnirs. Seeing that the situation was getting worse, Kozak immediately contacted the engineer Griffin, the robot controlling the ship, to bring it down to temporarily withdraw. Skydriver Nightingale decided to stay behind to hold off the Fafnirs, so that the group could successfully board the ship, on the other hand, to rescue his fellow far away. In space, the friends discovered that there are other Fafnirs shooting down lasers. They immediately attacked, but the Fafnir ship was unharmed by the much larger size, and they were even regarded with two battleships the eye. Meanwhile, the blue and white Nightingale entrenched and rescued their fellows, but due to the overwhelming number of enemy troops, they were cornered. Kozak's group of friends devised a strategy to target Fafnir's ship with their attacks, and in the end, the two battleships collided with Fafnir's ship and it crashed to the ground. Seeing that the victory was fading, the Hunters fled and the Nightingale could continue to live in peace. The final scene shows the alarm system warning something behind the Kozak friends' ship. So that's all 6 parts about Good Robot stories. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, this series was very successful at the time of its release and even later, due to it's easy to understand, easy to connect plot, and the characters, although as robots in the game, but they actually have the same thoughts and feelings and something like that as humans. And the film production team from concepts to rendering process did a great job. Yep, I have to say that. Highly appreciate that. So what do you think about the 6 movies? Is it satisfying enough for you by the movie standards, or is it, is it missing somewhere? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I am Michael Gamer, and see you in the next special production videos like this one. Goodbye.